Hello, everyone. Welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. Well, it's Halloween week here in the UK, and my weekly lesson this week is all about Halloween. Now, the headline of the Daily Star, that's one of Britain's newspapers, says trick or heat, which of course is playing on words. Eat, drink, and be scary at your favorite beach this Halloween, thanks to good weather, which will be appearing. Well, it's very cold at the moment, so I'll be looking forward to that if that actually happens. Now, there's a few other Halloween-related stories here. It says here, Halloween spending in Britain is set to soar to 776 million this year. It's approaching 3 times what was spent on the scariest day, Halloween, in 2014, when the figure went up to 330 million. Tom Chima, who owns the Halloween House shop, which is Europe's largest Halloween retailer, said, "We have people who come in and spend thousands, and in the week before Halloween, it's absolutely mobbed." Mobbed simply means busy. If something is mobbed, it means that it's so busy that you would be uncomfortable. It's a very common word, that, especially in the northern part of the UK, M-O-B-B-E-D. And he says here, we even had to employ security guards. Well, as you know, Halloween now is a bigger celebration than Christmas, because for us, we don't particularly like families. So Halloween offers us all of the party atmosphere without the family dinner. So that's what makes it quite attractive, I think. It says here that men are more likely to be scared of monsters. If we talk about superstitions and ghosts, 47% of adults in the UK are afraid of the dark. Men are much more superstitious about sleeping in the dark than women. And 46% of all people sleep with the light on. 32% keep the bedroom door open all night. Rachel Marshall of a company called Benson's for Beds carried out this poll, and she said, "We were surprised to find out just how many adults are suffering with a fear of the dark and how that impacts their sleep." Oh, really? Oh, interesting. Yeah, well, I don't sleep much anyway, but yeah, it's nice to know. And the story continues. Britain will be hotter than... I'm not sure what this means. Britain will be hotter than L, as heat makes it warmer than Spain. Britain will be hotter than L, as freakish Halloween week heat makes it warmer than Spain. Yeah, I'll just read that one more time. Britain will be hotter than L. Okay, I'm obviously missing something there, unless it's an abbreviation for hell, maybe. I don't know what EL is supposed to represent there. Very badly written. Could be a reference to a TV show, I don't know. Britain is said to be hotter than Spanish capital Madrid, which is due to be 17 degrees on Thursday, with the Met Office, that's the people who give us our weather, forecasting that London will be 19 degrees. But then it will suddenly drop when snow arrives in the north shortly after. It will drop to -3. So an amazing Halloween, they're saying, but as November starts, the weather will get much worse. Yeah, and very interesting, yes. And they're going on to say here about witch burnings and how that started. You see, Halloween is always associated with ghosts, magic, witches. So there's an article here about how witch burning started when one of our kings in the old days, King James, thought that he was the subject of witchcraft, and he set out to find and destroy people that he thought were witches. So that's another story for today in the newspaper. All very interesting, all very interesting. Well, of course, Halloween is widely thought to come from the Celtic festival, Samhain, pronounced Samhain in some parts of the Celtic world. When I say the Celtic world, I'm talking about Scotland, Ireland, and even parts of northern Spain, which I believe still hold some Celtic traditions. Also, of course, as parts of France. So the 31st of December apparently marks Samhain. I know here in Scotland they're trying to bring back a festival for that, but it's largely unsuccessful, I think. And in other parts of the Celtic world, it's still a very big festival, but most people know it as Halloween. I don't really know if that's where Halloween came from exactly, because I've also heard that Halloween used to be celebrated at Christmas time and then was moved to October. So I don't know what happened with history on that. Another one of the newspapers is leading with the story about the Thames torso murderers. So if you've heard of Jack the Ripper, around the same time there was another one which was referred to as the Thames torso killings. And there's a big story about them in some of the newspapers as well. Yeah, our newspapers at Halloween time always pick up on the darker stories, the more kind of grisly stories, you could say. So, yeah, there's a few of those going around. Lots of things about our government, of course, and politics. Largely boring, I think. And speaking of the dead, one of our most famous TV chat show hosts, who died some years ago, is going to be coming back. AI has recreated his voice. Artificial intelligence has recreated his voice, and the family of this host, his name is Michael Parkinson, will now be hosting a new podcast. So basically, the voice of Michael Parkinson, who's already passed away, will be reproduced by AI to host a podcast. So let's read through that story. An AI version of the voice of Michael Parkinson will interview a new generation of guests in a podcast backed by his family. Michael Parkinson, his son, Mike Parkinson, the son of the late broadcaster, who died at 88 last year, said the voice is a perfect replica of his father's famous accents. He said, it's exactly how my father delivered the questions. It stuns people when they hear it. The 8-part unscripted series, Virtually Parkinson, captures his relaxed style of interviews with greats such as Muhammad Ali, Billy Connolly, Fred Astaire. The podcast, out later this year, is to be the first presented by an AI host. The boy, Mike Parkinson, added, we're going for a new generation of guest talent, and that doesn't mean he wouldn't go back to the people he interviewed before. The AI voice has been created from his huge back catalogue of interviews. Parky's family insisted he would have been fascinated by this project. Yeah, so basically, this will be the first ever podcast here in the UK using AI as the host, even though it will be mimicking somebody's voice. So, from that, we can begin to see how AI is going to help us in the future. I prefer to be sitting here using my own voice. I mean, the idea of my voice going somewhere else to produce podcasts, it's a nice idea, but it takes away the joy. I like doing these podcasts anyway. So, yeah, it looks like somewhere in the future, um, people's voices will at least be preserved. Okay, here's another news story. Oh no, no, this is about Celine Dion. No, no, I'll just ignore that one. My cat really, really doesn't like her. Tesco, that's our supermarket, they say their workers love the free private GP service they offer to help them get around the queues at the doctor. According to our health service, 5 million patients each month wait over 2 weeks to see a doctor, but this supermarket is helping staff beat the delays by providing them with their own private doctor, sleep therapist, counselor, and nutritionists. So if you work for Tesco in the supermarket, some 310,000 employees, including the ones who look after the checkouts and their immediate families, all the way up to company directors, are being offered the use of a doctor. Managers can get unlimited, managers and frontline staff, that's all customer staff, can get unlimited video appointments with a doctor whenever they want. It says here the staff love the service and it helps attract and retain brilliant staff. All right, so if you work for the supermarket, you can't have any problem in seeing a doctor because they now have doctors that you can visit. But if you're not working for a supermarket, you have to wait around 2 weeks in England. And I think for me, I can get an appointment pretty much same day. But this story is kind of misleading though, because we don't get to see doctors. We only get to talk to them on the telephone. If I call the doctor today, he'll call me back this afternoon. Maybe tomorrow, if it's not an emergency. So I don't know. Maybe England has some big problems with this. Bearing in mind, right now I'm in the north, so I don't know what that's referring to there. But if you want to see a doctor quickly, work for the supermarket. Interesting. All right then. Well, that's it from me for today. I'll be back for tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow. Apologies for the delay in getting stuff onto YouTube, particularly, but it is coming. Bear with me on that. I'm still trying to sort out my podcast feed, but it should be fixed within the next day or so. See you. Bye.